Are now listening to another episode of the Renegade Podcast. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy this upcoming one. This is gonna be the one and only NBA Storyteller. He is one of the best YouTubers on this platform. He's an OG. He's been making content for over a decade plus, and his knowledge of the game is just second level. His very avant-garde style of video making is maybe the most unique thing I've seen in sports video essayists. So yeah, in 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. How you doing?
Hey man, you know how long I've been waiting for this? It's been a minute, bro.
I have no idea.
Man, you really like. I'll tell you a story, bro. I never forget the first time I came across your channel. I believe it was 2019, and you did this video about Steph Curry. And when I saw that video, I saw the thumbnail. I'm like, I don't know about this, and I clicked on it, and I was just blown away. I was like, whoa, like, and then I kind of reintroduced myself because I was just like, I'm like, you know, because the thing was, I was following your channel for a while, then I kind of fell off. Then I went back on when you did that Leroy Smith documentary, and when I saw that, I was just like, this might be the best, like, NBA video I've ever seen. Like, it was just incredible. So, yeah, that's my gratitude, man. I really, really appreciate you came on here, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Of course. I mean, not of course. Honestly, not of course. But you just seem sincere. You seem like you actually are doing. And I checked out your channel, and you're really doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're interviewing folks. You're doing your research.
Yeah.
So I want to support that. You know, it only takes a couple of things.
Yeah.
To kind of launch you to another level. So
yeah.
I like getting in on the ground floor of somebody doing something.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
Oh, that's a great question, man.
I've been when your first video was.
You know, it's funny because the idea of a podcast, I always wanted to do a podcast. Like, even though I was younger, like, I see guys like, you know, I know he's, you know, I have a different opinion of him now, but like guys like Joe Rogan and seeing what he was trying to do, and I even throw in a guy, even though he wasn't really a YouTuber or even like I see a guy like Conan O'Brien, you know, yeah. Craig Ferguson. I'm like, it looks like they have the most fun job in the world, you know? You know, they can interview celebrities and goofing off. Like, I'll even throw in a guy like Jon Stewart. Like, he's also a big inspiration, you know? And those guys really showed me that you could be creative and still be, like, sort of, like, you could still be creative and actually, you know, have, like, sort of a thought-provoking way of showcasing your perspective. And I'll never forget this. This is funny because I always want to do it. I kept putting it off. And I'll never forget, right, it was last year. And because I was in college. I was at Humber College for radio broadcasting. You know, I just graduated. Convocation could be in a couple months. And December of last year was really the month that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start contacting people. And the funniest thing in the world was, like, one of the first people I contacted was Justin Hunt, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I contacted him, and we had a very interesting conversation. He's like, what's your CV? You know, he asked me, like, he was asking very nice, but, like, what's your resume? What are you trying to do? And I explained what I was trying to do, and he said, you know what? I'm not available. I'm busy, but I really appreciate my work to the point that you want to interview me on it. And he just said, you know, keep at it and just build yourself a CV. And I thought about that, and I thought to myself, okay, I gotta approach this totally different way. I got to be fully invested into this. And I'll never forget my first real interview was this guy named World 30. He's a rapper. I liked his music, but I was like, is he really gonna, like, go to my channel? Like, because the thing was, the first interview is a tone setter for anything, right? Like, first video of any channel is a tone setter. And I'm like, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. Well, what's the worst can happen, right? He doesn't respond, whatever. He responded. You had an interview, and I'll never forget this. When after we were done, I'm like, I got it. I got the formula. and it's getting higher and higher and higher. It's been on the ups. I mean, I interview some people that have 1 million subscribers, like Solar Sands. I interview guys like T1J. I interviewed a lot of sports YouTubers. Yeah, I even interviewed a guy that was in Sportsnet up in Canada, because I live in Canada, right? So, and what I really sort of learned is that we are all fundamentally the same. You know, we might have different likes, different preferences, but we're all fundamentally the same. You really think about it. And I think what a lot of these people respect is that you treat them as a person, not as a deity or celebrity. You treat them as like any other person. And I think a lot of my best videos were from that we just had a conversation. So yeah.
I think you're doing great. That it's a very interesting story, Bob, from Justin Hunt. I feel like if you went back to him now, he would be willing. I also know he wasn't doing. There was a stretch of time where he wasn't doing much online.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, and it's good. You seem to remember the lessons that you get from this. I clicked around a little bit, listened to some interviews. I caught the Solar Sands one, which I thought was an incredible interview. Even just you leaving in all the beginning stuff, just the interaction.
Yeah,
it's like this is people want to feel like we're there with you.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh yeah, he's taking us through a process. And that's what I love. I love a process.
Yeah, for sure. So my first question to you is, what was the inspiration behind your channel's name and logo?
Oh, the name, it was like the second thing I thought of.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's hurt the channel at all, but I've kind of sometimes tried to just bury the NBA part.
Yeah.
Because of copyrights and things. But it's just the first thing that popped in my head. Or second thing that popped in my head. And I was like, I like it. It was kind of a mission statement. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the NBA storyteller.
Yeah.
Early on, I kind of keep this theme sometimes. I don't know what's up there now. But I've gone with like a whale in the logo or the thumbnail, whatever it is. And that's, it's like it's the idea of a whale of a story, or finding your white whale, old Moby Dick thing. But there's just like there's a tie-in from big stories and fish and whales that we've all kind of attached. So a lot of people don't get it, but the ones who do get it, it's like, oh yeah, I get it.
Okay.
And also, I just like whales.
Okay.
So it was any excuse to put a big old whale on there. Which is interesting because I ended up using whales more often in various ways, including trying to find Leroy.
Okay.
But that's probably for later. So anyway, I wouldn't even say I put a ton of effort into the name other than I felt good about it.
Okay.
And I'm learning more and more that you kind of have to, there's just so many options. There's so many things to choose from.
Yeah.
Different ways to present yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you just need to go with the thing that doesn't bother you the most.
Yeah.
And just keep it moving, because it's not the most important part.
Yeah.
That's my game.
Wow. That's interesting. So I look back at your first video. Do you remember your first video?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. So, funny enough, that was the second video that I watched when I first discovered you a couple years ago. And the one thing that struck to me was just the amount of detail. Like the detail in a very sort of avant-garde, psychedelic, experimental way of even this, like, talking about something. Let alone something as ubiquitous as the NBA. Like, what was sort of the inspiration behind that sort of style of video that you were trying to do? And was there a YouTuber you were inspired by or anything like that?
I don't remember the year, but I'm sitting around watching, there's three of them, but there's, why the heck can't I remember the guy's name? There's Dom 2K, and then the other one, what's his name, Mike? What's the guy's name?
Mike Korzemba?
Like original. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, that guy. It was his door behind him. He's always got a door behind him. And I'm like,
yeah.
Somebody's got to come through that door one day. If you're going to have a video with the door behind you, somebody's got to come through one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was watching your stuff, and I liked it. I liked what they were doing. And that was early NBA YouTube.
Yeah.
and there was a lot of trending topics that we were familiar with, right?
Yeah.
But and it's not some sort of overconfidence, but I said, from my background, what I'd been doing, I've been making videos, marketing videos for a lot of companies and commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And I was using some documentary techniques to tell stories about why, this financial advisor can sell grandma an annuity, right? Yeah. And why they're trustworthy and they're from the area. And I was like, I was just using all these techniques for these marketing videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got kind of sick of it, and I thought, well, how can I use these techniques to do something that I'm interested in?
Yeah.
And basketball has always been my number one interest.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just take all my peculiar perspectives on this and put it in the format of one of these YouTube videos that these guys were doing. Here's my topic. And then I realized the stuff that interests me was a little outside of the main topics.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, this could be the thing that I do. This could be my lane here.
Okay.
So my first video, well, actually I put like 2 videos up around the same time.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a mission statement for the whole channel, what I was going to do. Which is interesting because my intent was to not talk about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It was going to be a non-Michael Jordan basketball channel.
Yeah.
But the hidden agenda was to talk around him.
Yeah.
To build a world that clearly is influenced by this unnamed person.
Yeah.
And then people would be able to pick up on that, anybody who actually cared. But it didn't take long until I just jumped right into Michael Jordan stuff.
Okay.
Even though I kept claiming it wasn't a Michael Jordan channel.
Yeah.
And I realized it's just some of at least the era that I was brought up watching basketball, everything was centered around him.
Yeah.
So it kind of, it's like not so much like a sun, but like a black hole,
Yeah.
You kind of just visit that are stuck in his orbit.
Yeah.
And there's some compelling stories. And that was the goal. And I thought, there's no reason I couldn't just do this. Yeah. So I just decided to do it. And that was it. It wasn't, I didn't have like a long-term goal. I wasn't trying to turn it into my full-time career.
Yeah.
But I was like, if these guys can do that, what they're doing, then I can do that. And it was still pretty early on. I remember talking to a friend of mine. I was like, you want to get in on this channel with me? He said no. And, maybe he's made good decisions. I think this has kind of worked out. We'll get to how it's worked out probably in this interview. But, that's how it started. But definitely Mike Korzemba and Dom2K.
Wow. I actually have a funny story about Dom, actually.
What?
I actually have a funny story about Dom, actually, because we've interacted.
Oh, true. Okay.
We've interacted on Instagram. Like, this was like when I had my first Instagram account. I have like a couple after that. My first Instagram account, I wasn't even thinking about doing a podcast or whatever. I wanted, because he was doing like this thing where like he would just be posting like hot takes on Twitter, and he was talking about them in videos and stuff. And I'm like, I want to do something a little different. So we start talking. It was so fascinating. I was just sending him shit. I was sending him like just songs, people that I like, and he was liking it. We were having a conversation. It was so funny, and it showed me that guys like him are like, they don't come around often, because just think about how many content creators are kind of like, they're kind of above their audience. They make their video, everybody gathers around, and they go away for a while. With Dom, it's like, he is constantly interacting with his fans. He is constantly featuring them in videos, and he's constantly grateful about the stuff that he's done. And he's another guy I want to do an interview with at some point. I'm kind of shocked I haven't done one with him yet. Granted, he's been busy, I think he got married, he had a child, like, congrats to him.
Good. Yeah, good for him. Those are big steps. Those are big things. I feel like he would totally do an interview. He's been. So, what was your takeaway from all that?
My takeaway from all that was just like,
I mean, you kind of got to a little bit. Yeah, he's grateful. Yeah.
My takeaway from all that was like the power of just asking is everything. Because, you know, there's this perception that, you know, that with certain people, there's this untouchable sort of aura. You mentioned Jordan. Jordan had that for his whole life. Where, like, anytime he walks into a room, anytime he talks, everybody just listens. And it makes going up to that person and saying whatever to them or having a conversation with them that much more intimidating, especially online. Because you don't know if you're talking to them directly or talking to their PR team or their business team or whoever. You don't know, right? But that interaction really just showed me, like, he's just like me. He's navigating, you know, his career, his life, you know, and the fact that he took time out of his day to interact with me online was probably the maybe low-key the first spark of me going on this sort of kind of journey I'm on right now. Because I'll tell you a little story. So this was, like, I was thinking it was middle school. It's grade 7, grade 8. When I was younger, I had a massive temper tantrum problem. Like, I would just get upset over the most banal stuff. And it wasn't just, you know, it would be like for hours, and it would just disrupt everything. And I thought to myself, like, there's no way I could live my life like this. There's just no way. Like, I'm gonna crash and burn, and I'm gonna, like, but I'm like, I gotta figure something out, right? So I started to shift the way that I was, you know, because the thing about me is, like, you know, even in public school, I'll just be talking about things from the news. I mean, I remember I showed my class a documentary. This was grade 5, Brisdale, Brampton, and it was about sugar and the dangers of sugar. And I'll never forget this. I talked to my teacher. Shout out to Miss Antonopoulos. She's probably the best teacher I've ever had. And I said, you know, this is a documentary I saw on the Fifth Estate. That's like, you know, the Canadian version of, like, I don't know, like 30 for 30. Like, but it's not about sports. It's about news and other events. So, and I showed it to her, and she was shocked. Like, I'll never forget this. Like, she was eating this oatmeal. And there's a part about the interview that talks about, like, oats and sugars. It's like, she literally put the bowl on the side with the spoon, and she had this look on her face. It's like she saw, like, the Mona Lisa come to life. It was crazy. And literally that documentary, I'll never forget this. There was a pin drop in the beginning of the documentary. Like, a pin drop in the class. And I'll never forget that. I'm like, and this is me just showing them something. Like, the teacher could have just said, nah, or it's just inappropriate for the class. She showed it. We watched the whole thing, and it was just like, that's what I realized, like, wow. It was just like, I have this amount of clout already. It's just it's the type of, like, I wouldn't say power, but it was sort of, it showed me that I could be much more than just somebody just drifting through life. So,
yes, yeah. I mean, you are, but you aren't.
Yeah.
The drifting is important, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's incredible. And then you wanted to, from there, do what? How did you redirect that energy at that point? Was that when you started doing interviews? This was high school, you said, or college?
I think the interview stuff was just like, it's funny because it was, again, like, I always wanted to do it, but the thing was, there's this radio call. In Canada, right, you can call up these radio stations, right? And there's one that was probably maybe the most popular. I said a 99.9. It was 93.5 Today Radio. Before they, for some reason, transitioned to a country radio. Like, what? Well, that's a whole different conversation. So, there's this guy, he was one of the main announcers, pundits. His name's Tyler Barr. And I called up the radio station the first time. And I said, like, what song you want to play? I said, wow, I probably said some freaking, I don't know. So I said some weekend song or whatever. And we had a conversation afterwards, you know, about, like, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking about getting into journalism and yada, yada, yada. So, you know, you could be, like, I also said, like, I might get into radio. Like, because I didn't really know anything about that, right? I knew, but I didn't have the knowledge that I have now about that topic, that subject. So he said, you know, Humber College is the hub for radio people. Like, most of the biggest radio personalities in Canada came from Humber. Like, George Stephanopoulos, 6X0, a bunch of other people. And I said, sure. I was open to it, right? So, I told my parents about it. And they gave me this look like, are you sure you want to do this? Right? And I thought to myself, like, why not? Like, what's the worst can happen, right? So I did it. Got the 2-year program. There was some very interesting, experiences I had. Like traveling back and forth. That's probably my least favorite part of college. It wasn't just like the transportation. It was just like, because there was this bus. Because I live in Port Credit, right? And there's this bus stop that goes to downtown Mississauga. Then that goes to Humber. And there were some very interesting people on those buses. I'll never forget. There's this one guy. He was wearing a Raiders hat, so I should have known that he's gonna do some BS. And he just stared me down. Like, I'm like, what's the problem? In my head. And and then he goes on this freaking hand job. Oh, you're sitting in your seat. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I get out of my seat. I sit in the back. And he's just looking at me for whatever reason, right? Like, he's looking, and the next time I see him, it was the same exact thing, right? Like, I closed the window, right? Because it was getting cold, right? It was cold, right? It was like November or December, right? So we're already like near winter during that time. And he goes like, and he says, don't, like, he says, it was just like, it showed me like, man, there's just certain people that are just, they're just jerks, man. So.
Then what happened after that? What'd you take with that?
There was another incident where there's like this, I don't know, but this one guy, he's mentally he was not well. Like, I could see in his face, okay, this guy he's not well. And this other guy, he was just instigating. And you know what happened? There was literally almost a fight in the bus. I had to get on another stop earlier than the stop I usually go to, right? Because, again, they were literally scrapping in the bus. So I don't know, like, if the guy got caught or anything, but yeah, that was crazy. But the one time that really, the one final push that made me do what I'm doing right now was, funny enough, was 2024's Mississauga Fan Expo. So it's like a comic expo, but it's not Marvel or DC or even Image Theme. It was just indie. It was the very definition of indie comics. People who just do it. They don't do it for the fame. They do it for the love of the game. And there's this one guy. It's just this he was this Oriental guy, very nice guy, by the way, and he had this very cool like Renaissance like comic, and like I wasn't gonna read it or buy it, but I was just the way that he spoke was very like, how can I say it? He spoke in a very like sort of articulate, analytical way. I really like that. And he said, no, you should be like it. He said, man, you ask some very professional questions. Like, are you an interviewer? I said, no. He said, maybe you should do that. And I never forget that, And that was not the only person that said that. There's other sort of two people that I wouldn't say they're like my friends, but I can like hit them up at any time. We can have a conversation. There's this one guy he created this comic called Our War. And it combines like the Walking Dead, and it combines Last of Us and like Michael Mann's, and like that. It's like all in the blender, and there's no supernatural shit. There's no zombies or vampires. It was literally the apocalypse if it actually happened in real life. And that concept was right off the bat. I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. I'll have to speak to these people. I spoke to them. Super nice people, by the way, like super super nice. And the guy who's illustrating that comic is actually one of the main people who storyboards stuff for Guillermo del Toro. And that blew my mind. I'm like, what? Like, how I asked him, like, because I'm a big fan of the guy. So like, I asked him, like, how's it like? He said, I never met somebody who is as creative as him. And I'm like, yeah, I do agree with that. And it was just like, I asked him, like, do you bring up your comics to Guillermo? He said, they kind of like know, but they're working on trying to get it. Like they said that there's like these sort of B-level, C-level sort of directors that are interested in property, and like they said we're open to like, you know, different variation and reinterpretation, but we want to keep the soul the same. What I really like, because that's kind of my MO of the channel, is like whoever is on, it's their, whoever is on, they control the conversation. Like I usually just sit back, you know. So yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. All right. Let's see where this goes. That's incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
It's also a tough spot to be in. It's like for that guy.
Yeah.
This guy's own little comic. He's working for a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything happen? Come of that?
Of our war, as of right now, I mean, I asked them last year. They're saying like there's just things haven't really. There's things in the works, but there hasn't really been like any movement. I mean, right? But here's the thing: I'm volunteering at it was the Toronto Fan Expo, you know, and that's like the Comic Con of Canada, San Diego Comic Con of Canada, right? So I probably gonna go over there, whatever booth they're at. I'm gonna ask them, you know, brick bread, you know, ask them about, you know, what you just said, and yeah, it's gonna be very interesting though. So
good luck with that. Are you gonna do interviews and stuff like that there? You gonna...
I don't know, man. Like, because I'm there. Here's the thing: I'm there to help people out. Like, trying to, you know, I'm usually the volunteers at these sort of events. They usually direct people, or they ask them a question about.
Oh, right, yeah,
right. I can't really interview people, but there are definitely people I'm gonna try to get their contacts and just arrange things. I mean, there's one person I've been trying to get an interview with for like the last year. Her name's Katie Swansky. She's part of Raid Comics. It's indie comics. It's fantasy and action and adventure. It's very cool stuff. And the first time, I'll never forget this. First time I met her, I was just like, I felt like I was talking to another version of myself. Like the way that she was like, it was just, we had a great conversation. And immediately I'm like, I got it. Like she's like I thought of having her as the first person to interview on the channel. But, you know, certain things, she's really busy right now, you know, about, you know, she's creating comics and she's in the booth and creating the panels. Like the thing is, she illustrates the panels by hand, which obviously that takes a long time. So,
let's look her up. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. My next question is that your first viral video, okay? Do you remember your first video that like really blew up?
It's like stages, and levels to these types of things.
Okay.
I mean, the first thing I did that got any sort of algorithmic attention.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay, we'll just get right to it. The thing that really started to give me some attention was when I started talking about Leroy Smith, the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Before that, I was growing a little bit of an audience. Couple of videos. It's interesting. I've come to terms with YouTube that I don't have all the energy and effort to play all the games, all the algorithmic games. So I'm basically approaching it on my own terms these days, which is I've got longer term projects. I get to them on my own time, and I'm not trying to live in that hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Because I did that for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
That was actually exciting. But I started talking about Leroy Smith, the guy that beat Michael Jordan for the last spot on the varsity team in high school, right?
Yes.
It's Jordan's sophomore year, both your sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I was, I don't know who sent it to me. I've kind of created a story in my head, which I know isn't true, but I got an email saying, hey, you should check this, rewatch the Jordan Hall of Fame speech. It's a blast or something, you know, it's crazy. And I watched it, and I remember watching it when it happened, but watching it again in the position that I was in, where I was making videos.
Yeah.
I was constantly looking for things to talk about, or just anything that sparked my interest. And that's kind of how I operate, which is like, I gotta get way ahead of it because I can't talk about stuff that it's just the topic of the day. Yeah. It's got to spark some sort of curiosity within me. So I keep a pretty hefty list of things I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But this was immediate. As soon as I saw him sitting there, I thought, well, what's this guy's deal? Like, this clearly isn't the guy from high school, because why would somebody show up to get laughed at in this particular situation?
Yeah.
This historic moment.
Yeah.
And that's all he did. He put a nice suit on, went to an event, and people laughed at him. And then they cut away. Right? Yeah. There was no conclusion to this. Jordan, when he starts talking about all the other people that challenged him and created the fire within him, he gave them a little bit of credit. Every one of them, he framed in understanding. And also, they were people who were in his world, not necessarily his peers, but people who were successful, people who owned basketball teams, people who were professional athletes. And then there's just this one guy, the guy from high school. Yeah. And he flew him out there and made sure people knew who he was, and he made sure the world knew it was a mistake. And it never sat with me well.
Yeah.
So I decided to talk about that. And it's funny, you talk about Dom Piquet. That's when, after I put a couple of videos out, made it, and there's all, I don't want to say tongue in cheek, but the idea was that I know it's ridiculous. I know this is pretty minor, but we can all be genuine in our lighter obsessions, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to constantly say, this is a joke, or I understand this isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
You just live with the truth of whatever that curiosity is.
Yeah.
And hopefully people in the audience understand. It's a little different now. I feel like people kind of need their hands held on what the take is.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've shied away from it. The idea is, I'm just going to give you what my process was.
Yeah.
And you're going to either not understand it, or you'll get exactly the speed that I'm on, which is, I know what this is. But now that we all know what it is, let me take it seriously in this content, in this presentation.
Yeah.
So then I decided to turn it into like a little bit of an investigation, trying to find him. Yeah. Which was half show and half real. I was like, I'll make the steps to try to find him, but at the same time, I'll dial up the drama a little bit for this series. Yeah. My Web of Lies series, right?
Yeah.
I busted out the conspiracy board and tried to connect the dots and all that stuff. And there's a lot of questions around Michael Jordan's origin story, right? Like that's where you wrap back around and you get to a point where it actually is kind of important. Yeah. And then if you do dive into these things that are trivial to most people or on the edges of our concern, what you end up revealing is that even little shit is very important to the people involved with it. Yeah. So I started learning more about Leroy Smith, and you learn that, this isn't just fun and games for him. He's had an experience living in this shadow, if this person's even real. So I decided to talk more about him and figure out who he was and try and find him. And that was where I got my first wave of attention from outside of my little circle. I think I was getting maybe like 1,000 views a video. Then it shot up to 10,000 or more than that. And people like Dom 2K reached out, and a couple other NBA YouTubers, and they were very complimentary. It was a very warm group of people, and I'm still in contact with some of them. But I was like, okay, I think I have something here, and I don't know if I. It's so tough to learn the right lessons in the moment, obviously. Yeah. But you go, especially at that time, you're like, all right, well, this is going to be my thing. I'll do this once a week. It's like I kept trying to find the thing I'm going to do once a week. Whether it was audience questions, a grab bag thing, or whatever it is. And you look through my channel, there's 20 different attempts at creating regular segments. And me just not necessarily not following through, but finding something else that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Kind of drifting between things. But that was the first, and it felt good because you want the thing that you start to get attention for to be something that you actually care about, or you're actually interested in and have some momentum behind.
Yeah.
As opposed to some, I made a video about Magic Johnson and Clyde Drexler and hairlines.
Yeah.
And it was very much me. I'm so proud of that video.
Yeah.
But it really didn't. It didn't. It was just. It was weird to be weird. It was a video just so I could get those things out, little comments and things I thought. But who was it back then? There was somebody who did reaction videos back then, and he did a reaction video to my video.
Yeah.
And that was actually the first time I got some attention.
Yeah. And
I was like, okay. But then I also realized that not everybody really gets what's going on here.
Yeah.
But I liked that.
Yeah.
I think I was doing stuff that wasn't necessarily controversial, or I wasn't pushing anything.
Yeah.
So it would just make people either feel kind of odd, like they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Or they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm into this.
Yeah.
But then the Leroy stuff was like, okay, Leroy Smith, this is like a thing I can continue to do. And I, did 3 of them. Until, 6 or 7 years later, when I actually found the guy.
Yeah. Interesting. So, like, when you first found Leroy, right? Like, what was his reaction to what you were trying to do? Like, was he, like, shocked, or was he surprised? Like, what was, like, his first initial reaction? There's the story, and then there's what actually happened.
Yeah. Because up until pretty recently, I was under the impression that he came across my stuff.
Yeah.
And wanted, I am directly asking to speak with him in those videos. So it's like, it wasn't a mystery about what to do once he found them. Like either he would want to talk to me or not.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you can get so focused on an individual that you can, that Michael Jordan, or it's like you can transfer that to almost anybody.
Yeah.
1, if you don't know them. Yeah. And 2, if you just, obviously focus on them for a while. It happens all the time with people. But he contacted me and he DM'd me on Twitter. He's like, "Hey, I'm Leroy Smith," and he was starting a podcast, right? Yeah. I'm like, so I just wrote back. I just wanted to make sure it was actually him, but it was more of me being in awe that this person exists, and he reached out to me. Yeah. That I didn't start taking note of his reactions to things until later. Yeah. And what I learned recently, everything's the other day, right? Especially for Storyteller's Day. The other day I learned that he didn't see any of my content. And there's a version of this which is just complete coincidence, where he's starting his podcast and he wanted to get the word out and found an NBA account that he just DM'd. Yeah. Which is incredible to me because out of all the people to find, like, he found me, right? Yeah. Then I found out later that his daughter helped him find the accounts to reach out to. Yeah. So maybe she knew, but she didn't tell him. Yeah. So when I started telling him that what I'd been doing, in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't know because I assumed that he knew a lot about what I'd been talking about. Yeah. And questioning that he was even a real person, or questioning his intelligence. Like, who's this person to put himself in that position? Especially because if you look into his background, or in at least the past 30 years, he's not profiting off of Michael Jordan. Yeah. He's not doing things directly with him or one-offs. There was a little bit of that early on in like the late 90s, early 2000s, but beyond that, he just was trying to live his own life. Yeah. And I'm talking to him, and I'm assuming he knows all this stuff, and he's cordial. He seems to just be in a good mood and trying to avoid the word, but he's incredibly motivational.
Yeah.
Which is, what Michael Jordan deemed him, the original motive, the motive.
Yeah.
Which was never his intention, right? It's like
Okay.
if somebody in school, it's like if you accidentally trip somebody in high school, and then for the rest of their life, they're calling you the bully.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, my foot was just there. Like, I had nothing to do with it. I knew you were there. And then all of a sudden, you're 60 and you're like, you know what? I think I am the bully.
Yeah.
Like, I am that. You just, so I think there's a little bit of that going on there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's just got this spirit and this attitude that's, pushes you forward. So
Yeah.
he never questioned anything. He never asked me about any of the things I said. He just seemed to be aware of it. And as I explained the series and what I wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
so he kind of just played along for a
Yeah.
little bit. And then I revealed more, and then he went back and watched the things and got fully caught up and didn't hate me. So it worked out.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
and even to this day, like I just talked to him 2 days ago.
Wow.
He's maintained this energy and enthusiasm
Yeah.
that I don't think I would have finished any of the projects with him or about him if he wasn't motivating me.
Yeah.
If he wasn't encouraging me.
Yeah.
Which is we're skipping around here, which is incredible because I ended up making this documentary on YouTube about him and his story and finding him and all this stuff. And then, I submitted for some awards and we win a Webby award, right?
Wow.
Which is pretty
I saw
decent.
that.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we won that, and then he came we all came up to New York where the ceremony was and met the guy, right?
Yeah.
And he told me that's when he said that he was nervous the whole time.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what was going to come of this. And his family was kind of questioning, like, why are you working with this random guy? We spent a lot of time.
Wow.
And he's like, no, yeah, I was actually a little worried about all this process. It's like, you never let that on at all. You didn't hint at nervousness, and it was because of that gave me confidence that this is a thing that has to get done. Because I wasn't making money off of it.
Yeah.
The idea was like, and there was a point when I finished some early cuts, and I was talking to some people, and there was this guy, he produces independent documentaries, he takes things to Sundance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation. He was like, yeah, I want to buy this from you.
What?
Yes. And he had a bunch of ideas, but the caveat was, you're not putting this on YouTube and it won't come out for a while, but you'll get a budget, nothing crazy, but definitely something, money for the project. Like, that's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And that, I sat on that decision. I sat on that for a while because when you're doing this type of stuff, especially when it is literal storytelling and it is, wrapped in content, you gotta move for the story, right?
Yeah.
The way you move has to have the story in mind.
Yeah.
So there was no way that the finale of this series I did on YouTube was going to be off of YouTube.
Yeah.
It had to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
I figured that this is the way that story wraps up. And there was, that's what's incredible. And also thing I've learned about YouTube is that you play that weekly game or you play that, numbers game and you're putting out a particular level of content for your audience, you'll gain a loyal following. You'll make a decent amount of money, but there's also this little pocket that you can live in where you get a fervently motivated and loyal group of people of a few thousand, or not talking about views, but commenters, people who will show up for everything, and comment and share. If you have this little army, you can sustain yourself, right? You can get them to do. Not in a manipulative way, but you can get them to do anything. If you want to sell a shirt, they'll buy your shirt. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do a Patreon, they'll be there for that. So you serve those people, your core audience, and show your loyalty, your gratitude to them, they'll do anything for you, right?
Wow.
So I was kind of finding that little pocket, and I knew I had to, the way to continue that relationship with the audience, I had to put the thing on YouTube, and that meant I couldn't do this deal with this guy. But I kept telling the guys, like, listen, this is a no-budget documentary. Like, it's literally just Zoom interviews.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of stock B-roll that I just did things to, and ripped clips off of, old Michael Jordan stuff. Like, I don't even own the rights to a lot of this stuff. But, YouTube, it's a little Wild West. And I was like, if you want to make something longer, or you want to make something more in-depth, like, let's do that. But the guy didn't like that I said no. So, he's gone. And then I was like, oh, crap. Okay, I hope I made a good decision.
Yeah.
But the long-term plan was to put the thing out, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, get some sort of critical acclaim. This is what I was thinking early on. Because I know I hadn't been posting regularly. There was no way the algorithm was going to be like, let's take this thing and send it to the top, right? It's like I even have I feel like I have an artificial ceiling on my channel. Like every video best videos I've done, they all hit about 250,000, but then they stop. They all stop right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems a little odd that they all stop right there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know what I can do. I know it's not going to break full containment. It's not going to go to 10 million. But if I post this here, it does well, and maybe I'll submit it for a bunch of awards and see what happens. And that's literally what happened. It worked exactly like that. And I thought, from that, this may be the launch pad to something else, something a little bigger.
Yeah.
And it's like that Justin Hunt thing. You got to build up your CV. And that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. Even though, you get a little ad revenue, that's fine. But as Solar Sand said, YouTube's a tough business to make a real living off of.
Yeah.
So the goal was credibility and to complete the project and show an entire process that really took, 8-9 years from the beginning of me being interested to, winning an award. It was like, oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but exactly what I thought could happen has happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you'll probably put this out sooner than I could talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm in that stage, moving to a bigger platform. I've got a deal with a bigger platform for a project.
Wow.
And it's directly connected to that process.
Yeah.
With Leroy and completing that and then winning the award, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is this like a documentary or something? Like.
Yeah. Sports documentary.
Wow. Yeah. So is this like?
No, it's bonkers, right?
Wow. So is this company like a subsidiary of like ESPN or Fox Sports, or is this a Vice, or is this something completely independent from that?
Let's say the answer is yes,
Okay.
but honestly, I need paperwork signed. We haven't signed paperwork yet.
Okay.
I don't want to get not just for bad luck, but this is also for the internet. Okay. So we can talk in a month, and I'll tell you everything.
Okay.
But it's a company with a budget.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the company.
Okay.
Wow.
So I can see your face.
You know what what's that?
I mean, I'm gonna see your face on TV.
Ideally, no.
Okay.
I don't want to be on. I don't want. If my voice pops up in things, or if I'm asking interview questions in the background, I never really wanted to be the focus of these things. Okay. And that's you honestly see that tension on my channel, figuring out through the history of it. Is this about me, or is this about these stories? Yeah. And I get I don't know, maybe it's just watching other people make things more and more about themselves. Yeah. Which ultimately is less interesting. Yeah. People can be interesting, but if I'm going there for interesting sports stories, yeah. And it's more and more about you. Yeah. And it's not tied to pushing those stories forward. Yeah. You can obviously tell anecdotes and support things within your own context, your own framing for your audience, but I'm like, okay, we're not getting anywhere. This is just an exercise in posting. Okay. At this point. That's what I don't want. Okay. But maybe, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's interesting. Wow. So I was gonna ask, because it's interesting. You said that sort of kind of you had this sort of full circle moment. Like when they announced that what you did, right, won a Webby, and you was there. Like, what was your first initial reaction to that? Like, I can't imagine winning something like that, and you've been sort of busting your ass for almost a decade about this stuff, and you finally get what you wanted. Like, what was your first reaction? Was it joy? Did you get emotional? Like, what was it?
That's a terrific moment to focus in on, because when I submitted, you have to submit for the awards months and months in advance.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody that I did it. I wanted to see if we'd be, because you submit and then you get nominated, and then obviously then you win. So I didn't tell anybody where I submitted it to, but I told, once we got nominated in the sports category, I told everybody, as many people, I told the core group of people, and they told whoever. But then it was another 3 months before they announced the winners. And in this case, because the way they produce their show, it's not like the Oscars. They're not doing the reveal at the moment. They tell you ahead of time if you won or not, before the ceremony. So when I got that notification, I didn't do anything. I didn't tell anybody. I actually decided to keep it to myself for a day.
Okay.
I thought, there's something about having information or having something that makes you genuinely at peace. And I want to say happy, because it made me happy, but also it settled me, because there's that little bit of tension that you didn't know you were carrying with you, and then something happens, you're like, oh, I can let that go now. So knowing that we won, it basically relieved this shoulder pain that I had for the past, however many years or months, especially since we were working on the film. Where I was like, okay, that I feel looser now.
Yeah.
But then there's just a warmth to getting the thing that you wanted for so long. We're getting something similar to what you wanted for so long.
Yeah.
Also, it's exactly the thing I told people. I told people it was going to happen that way. When we started the process, I was like, this is what's going to happen. And so for it to happen, it also was in the exact same way. You get a little surge of confidence.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay, this is kind of how you can approach life. It's not always going to work out, but once you realize you can grab giant chunks of time to work on something and accomplish goals, you kind of move. You can breathe differently.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anybody for about a day.
Yeah.
And just lived in the warm feeling of having a fun little secret for a while.
Yeah.
Also, once you start telling people, then it's just a whole extra process of just talking about it, and then what are you going to do, and planning. Whatever it is, getting your outfit for the award ceremony, just stuff to do. So there's this little moment of purity, where it's just you and the feeling.
Yeah.
And I milked it. I sat for a while, and then told my parents, and told Leroy, and told one of the guys I work with a lot, Ian, and it was great. It was great. It was empowering, I guess, because I was like, oh, I can do this all the time.
Yeah.
If I know. Because what it really felt like was validation, and even more so with the thing that I'm working on now. This is the full validation, which is at a certain point on YouTube when I decided to stop trying to make a video every week.
Yeah.
And I decided to just put the things up and work on longer term things.
Yeah.
And I realized this was the system confirming that works also.
Yeah.
That works. You can go that route even in 2025 and find your way, to continue to move upwards.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. They just want you to put more and more out.
Yeah.
And the more you put out, the quicker it dies.
Yeah.
And I always thought this. I said, you got somebody, you make one film in 1970.
Yeah.
And that's it. You can live off of that in that world for the rest of your life, if it's good, right?
Yeah.
People who make films in theaters can make a single good thing, and that allows them to move up and play in higher levels of these industries.
Yeah.
And get bigger budgets, and if they fail beyond that, whatever, that's on them. But for some reason, you get on YouTube, it's like, well, not for some reason, I know why. You can't make a thing and that's not a matter of just living off of it, but live with it.
Yeah.
For a long period of time.
Yeah.
And there was something I put up that took me like a very long time to make, and I remember somebody saying, "Awesome video, can't wait for the next one." This was early on, and it just ruined that. It's funny that I remember that exact comment because it was a very long time ago, and it was so simple, and it's not malicious. It's encouraging, but I was like, no, I don't want this. It almost made me recoil from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I felt that day, and that's how I feel now.
Wow. That probably was maybe the best answer I heard a guest say on this podcast. No joke. I'm not capping. That wow. That's that. It's interesting. You said you live with it. You live in that warmth. And the funny thing is that could apply to you could see your favorite team. They win a championship, or even they're just winning in general. And I'll never forget this. I had the same feeling when the Raptors won that title in 2019. Obviously, I'm a Raptors fan. Been a Raptors fan my whole life. And seeing them go on that run and winning that title, and just the afterglow, I still feel it to this day. Like, it's funny when people say, "Oh, the Raptors, they were lucky, yada yada." I said, I don't care. Like, they won, and just seeing, and the funniest thing is that there isn't going to be a team I love more than that team that won. Even if we were to win another title or go on a dynasty or whatever, maybe that my feelings would change. But that first one, like just seeing the crowd, it really sank in. Like, I don't think I'm going to see anything like this in my life, and it still gives me goosebumps to this day. Like people talk about storybook and the script and what have you. That's the magic of life. That you see something that changes you forever. Another iteration of that was when I first saw. Have you watched Tron Legacy?
Is there a new version of it?
Yeah, Tron Ares. Yeah, it's coming out in a couple months.
I've seen the original.
Okay.
But please continue.
So, when I first saw Tron Legacy, it was the same thing, right? Like, my dad was a fan of the original, and he took me to go. And it was funny because it wasn't a movie that usually, my dad would watch, like, willingly, Like, he took the whole family out, and I sat in the theater, and it's funny because it's so funny because it's this little bit of, like, a kind of a weird, like, little bit of an interesting moment. I saw the first, like, Captain America trailer, like the first one, in the theater, and I really liked that one. But when I'll never forget this, right? There's a scene in the movie. I'm spoiling it, but there's a scene in the movie where the main character is Sam Flynn, right? This is him as a kid, and he has this argument with his grandparents about because the story goes is like Kevin Flynn, he's like this kind of like Steve Jobs figure in this world, and he created this new programs, and he's head of Encom. Encom's like Apple, Windows, that type of thing. And he disappears. He's stuck in his own It's kind of like the Matrix, kind of, He's stuck in his own creation. Yes. And I'll never forget. And this probably maybe the best pin drop of anything I have ever seen in my life. When he rode on that bicycle and it transitioned, it's probably the best transition I've ever seen. Like, I'm being serious. Transition, I heard the Daft Punk soundtrack, Son of Flynn. I was like, that meme where like somebody is sitting down and it's kind of like they stand up type of thing in the chair? It was like that. I was like I was dialed in. And that whole movie, man, I can recite lines, scenes, meaning. Like I would even say the first 15 minutes on its own is still one of the best things I've ever seen. The full movie, to me, like, it's my favorite movie of all time. Like, it's a modern classic. And seeing the Raptors win the title was something similar to that. But it's different. Like, you know, it's like, it sticks with you. And obviously, you know, there's the other side of, like, there's going to be fans who are going to be demanding more and more and more. And I don't know, man. It seems some of our fans sort of treat guys like Siakam and Van Vliet and OG and Masai, and it's kind of disgraceful, man. So them succeeding elsewhere, it's like you guys kind of caused this, you know? Like, it was that type of thing. And the funny thing is that, like, let's say, I don't know, because the problem is not going to happen. Let's say the Raptors win the title next season, somehow. It won't feel the same. Like, I would be excited. I would be ecstatic. It would legitimize that title even more. But it would be it would not be the same because it's not the first one. It's the same exact thing when the Chiefs won the first time. It was that type of feeling. Like, you're seeing something that is never going to happen in your life. But they became a dynasty. You know, they became the villains, maybe of all sports. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, you know, so, yeah.
Are you a Chiefs fan, huh?
I'm not a Chiefs fan, I'm a Steelers fan. But,
okay.
like,
Right.
for them, I'm talking about, in their perspective.
Yeah, okay. It's very interesting because I grew up in California in Berkeley, which is right next to Oakland. So I've been a Warriors fan my whole life. Right?
Yeah.
I really shy away from that on the channel. I don't like to scream it, but I'm you know, that's my team, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you maybe you knew that, but I mean that's it. That is actually it. But those emotions fit into different pockets for each as it changes from this thing you thought you never would see to like something that you almost expect.
Yeah.
To then, at a certain point, it just becomes relief, right? Mm-hmm. And the question is relief, as valuable as that warm, like that joy, that new type of joy that you get from something new. I don't know. So it's like you'll never get that feeling again. I mean, you guys had a team, man. Looking back on that team, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Like that was you. And from my perspective, it was like you guys rounded up all the Warrior killers. Yeah. Surge, from like all of them.
Yeah.
Every player on that team had some history.
Yeah.
Marc Gasol, that was crazy. But yeah, with that, it's like 2022 felt it was definitely a different feeling than the first one of their 4 championships. Even you could see it on Steph's face. You know, he was crying. He was actually having that moment. And you look back to 2015. Yeah, that they didn't know what to do when they won. Yeah. And it's like I don't know. Going into this season, what were the expectations for the Raptors in 2019 or 2018-19?
I think the expectations were like there's any year for them to go to the finals will be that year. But nobody was picking them to win the title. Like I started seeing people potentially pick them to win. Funny enough, there was a game that they had against that Warriors team. Granted, I don't think was Steph playing that game. I don't know, but Durant hit that shot over Kawhi to tie the game. I saw that was crazy. But we won that game, and that gave me that belief. Like, yo, we might do this. And then there's another game that probably is not discussed at all, where like that Raptors team blew the doors off of them in Golden State. And I'm like, I saw it, because I didn't see the game. I saw the highlights. I'm like, okay, this team could absolutely take it. That's why I never bought this whole, like, you know, if the Warriors had their team health, they would sweep the Raptors. No, they would not. I don't care. I don't care. Like, that Rockets team almost beat that Warriors team. And they didn't have anybody. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like, I look at that. Funny enough, I look at the Raptors and I look at the Warriors, and I'm like, they're kind of like sort of spiritual brothers of each other. You know, it's just that we didn't get a Steph Curry, and you guys did. But the support and just the the love in the city and stuff, like, it's similar, you know? And that's why, like, I always say, like, the Raptors being a successful franchise, to me, is probably one of the greatest achievements that the NBA has ever done. Because when they first announced the expansion, everybody thought it was just a gimmick. You know, Canada, do they really love basketball? They seem like a hockey country to me. Like, you see those, I still see them today. Even though, like, I mean, the maybe the best player in the world is Canadian right now. SGA. Like, it's like, you know, stereotypes like that are so hard to shake off. It's like, but sometimes it just, you know, I look at it like, and here's the thing, right? I could sort of relate it to another team that, you know, I mean, Milwaukee's in a weird situation right now because I remember when they won that title, and I wasn't really rooting for them. You know, I don't like Giannis. I never had, and I like Middleton. I like Lopez. I like their team, but I wasn't like, you know, when I'm going to be heartbroken because I wasn't a Milwaukee fan. The Raptors were really bad that year. You know, Tampa Bay and all that debacle, and it's so funny, like, looking back and just seeing some of the comments some of those Bucks fans were making. I was like, I'm kind of glad we got the title that we got the way that we got it. You know, Kawhi was, let's be real. Like, I'm going to be real looking back. Kawhi was never going to stay with us. You know, it was long term at least. Maybe for 1 or 2 years, but he was never going to stay with us for the rest of his career. He didn't strike me as that guy. He always wanted to go back to LA. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was funny enough, there was a rumor, not even a rumor, the Lakers tried to trade for him right before we traded for him.
Yes.
And for some reason, they didn't want to part with any of their young players. Granted, they lucked out because they got Anthony Davis and ended up winning the title a year after us. But there was that, you know, it was so interesting because that what if is not brought up enough. Right? Because the Anthony Davis trade, to me, is that it would not happen if the Lakers did not get a top 4 pick. You think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If Kawhi got traded there and LeBron went there, they probably make the playoffs or something like that. They don't get that pick. They don't get AD. And look, they probably do win a title. But the sort of butterfly effect, you know, it's again, we don't know what will happen after that, though. That's the thing, right? So, like, I always say to people, like, be grateful for what you have. If you have a team that won something recently, like, I don't get the gall to just keep complaining about something. Like, I understand, like, you know, it feels like our fan base is not, like, split in two now. There's one people who are super optimistic. There's one people who are super pessimistic. I'm in the middle. I'm like, look, the East is not that strong next season. I say probably make the playoffs. I want to see the Raptors be in the playoffs again. Like, the Raptors playoff atmosphere, I'm biased, is the best atmosphere in all the NBA. I'm going to be real. Like, the Warriors would probably be number one if they didn't win, if they didn't move out of Oracle, man. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah. Now it's a mess. Yeah. I think that what you said, that the Raptors winning the championship was most impressive. How do you characterize it?
I said Raptors being a successful franchise is one of the most impressive things the NBA has ever done.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. It's that is mirrored in a lot of different industries and ways, but the idea is, yeah, one of the teams is gone. Isn't even in there. It can't anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, and to hold on and to actually achieve that, it had to feel. I mean, my goodness, how were you after the series against Philly? Like, what was that like?
Oh my gosh, that was. Like, here's the thing. I always thought the Raptors were going to win that series, but the longer it went, this feeling of like, no, we're going to blow this, right? Like, there's no way. Like, the best team we have ever had. You know, we were literally number one seed, and we added maybe the best player in the world at that time on our team. That series taught me two things. One, Kawhi might have had the best playoff series. There's not been a playoff series as good as he had since that moment. No one. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like if you're gonna mention Durant or Giannis or LeBron. No one had a series as pivotal as that. That might have been the most important series anyone's ever played since LeBron. You really think about it, because if we don't win that series, then there is a real world that Philly are the dynasty, and we look at Joel Embiid same way we look at somebody like Jokic, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Joel Embiid won a title before Jokic. Then again, like this, that's why when his thing, right? When I saw, because the thing was so funny, is like the game we were watching, right? It was delayed by a couple seconds, and my brother was on his phone. He's on Snapchat, and they were like just talking about the game, whatever. When Kawhi's shot went up, the screen froze. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
The screen froze. My brother had the jaw drop look on his face, looking up on his phone. And he told me I don't know what, he's shushing himself. I don't know what he was trying to do. But screen unfroze. The shot goes in. Everybody goes crazy. And I was just like, that was the moment I'm like, we're winning the whole thing. Like, that's why I wasn't even worried about Milwaukee at all that series. Even Game 3, I'm like, we're going to take this. And we did. We ended up winning 4 straight. And it's something like, I don't hear people bring up that enough. That Giannis Antetokounmpo, in the prime of his career, right, no injury, no nothing, he only dropped 9 points. Like, no one brings that up.
Good point. Yeah.
No one brings, like, Kawhi was not even 100%. He completely outplayed him that series. That's why I'm like, you call this man, and when I saw Shaq call Giannis Superman, I'm like, what is this man talking about? Like, Superman? Like, come on, man. But that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, that was just, and the second thing is like, I don't want to hear anyone disrespect Jimmy Butler ever again. Ever again. He was the reason why they almost won that series. Period. Like, sure, Jimmy was getting torched, but granted, Kawhi was torching everybody that whole playoff run. But I also think that I don't want people to memory hole what he did with Miami. I don't want to see that, because I tell you this.
Jimmy did? What Jimmy Butler did in Miami?
Yeah, I don't want people to forget about that. I'm going to keep reminding people. The Milwaukee Bucks. I'll tell you this right now. If Giannis does not win another title in his career, I'll say it this right now. Jimmy Butler essentially ended Giannis' prime. Virtually by himself. You really, that 2023 playoff series, what I was seeing, because I wanted Miami to win, but in the back of my head, I'm like, there's no way, right? Milwaukee had the best record that season. And again, it doesn't get brought up. Giannis was blabbering about fucking steps to success, and it was like, and I had to hear freaking Allegri. You watch soccer?
It's occasionally.
Okay, so this guy named Allegri coaches AC Milan. He was Juventus coach at that time. And he was using that to motivate his players, and next thing you know, literally a year later, he got fired. So I'm like, it didn't really work, but it just. Yeah, those were like sort of the two takeaways from that Philly series. Like those were our two takeaways.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The further I get away from it, the less negative emotions I have with that championship. That one hurt. That hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Losing that, and mostly, honestly, it's because losing Clay was the hard part.
Yeah.
Knowing it just put a dark cloud over that, but
yeah,
it's all, gosh, there's multiple minds of it, but it's like 2016,
yeah,
as it was happening, and when Steph Curry missed his 3-point attempt that would have tied it,
yeah,
and I started accepting, oh, this is happening, like that dread washes over you,
yeah.
And I was like, no, this is good. This is the good thing. This is a much better story. and I thought, this is good for basketball, good for the NBA. They'll talk about this forever.
Yeah.
And it helped me process it.
Yeah.
2019 also has kind of slipped into that little pocket of, this was a fine outcome.
Yeah.
The other side of this doesn't end up benefiting the fans and the league and the storytelling more.
Yeah.
So I've never had any resentment towards the Toronto one. And also, I think you described it perfectly. Like, there's something innate, just as an NBA fan, thinking, well, good job, league. Like, good. This is a positive thing.
Yeah.
Just reinforcing that with an entire audience, an entire fan base. Like,
Yeah.
No, you guys have a thing. I mean, I feel like that'll sustain you guys for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
You guys become competitive again, regularly. That's great and all, but that was definitely necessary. Yeah, good stories.
Yeah.
I think I got like another 10, 15 minutes tops, I think. But what else you got? Not to make this an unnatural discussion, but yeah, I just want to make sure anything you want to get to.
Yeah.
You do get to.
Wow. So you grew up. It's funny enough. You grew up a Warriors fan in California. What was the first moment you became an NBA fan? Like, what was the moment? Was it a game? Was it a player? Was it a playoff series? What was the moment?
It was 1989 on a Sunday, right? So my uncle got tickets to a Warriors game.
Yeah.
And I was in church with my family, right? But I knew, they told me that today was different. My uncle was going to come pick me up early, and we were going to go to this game.
Yeah.
And service is going on, and I'm not believing it anymore. The time had passed that he was supposed to come get me, and nobody told me anything. And then, I don't know, because he didn't, it's a small church, but I don't think he knew where, like, the back entrance was.
Yeah.
But out of nowhere, it was like right at noon or something, the back doors of the church fly open.
Yeah.
And it's my uncle standing there.
Yeah.
Everybody turns around, and I was ecstatic. I said, this is it. This is actually happening. I'd never been to a professional game. So, it was very young, right? So, we go, he drives me there, and, I mean, I was really little at that point, so it's all been romanticized and fictionalized almost. But this is at old Oracle Arena.
Yeah.
Before they called it Oracle, I think it was just called the Coliseum in Oakland, California.
Yeah.
And we had, like, lower seats in the lower area. Not in the like this 200 section.
Yeah.
So, but we come in the top and we're walking down, and it's hazy. Maybe they had like some sort of opening act or something that had some smoke, but it just feels hazy. Like the light, those old photos you see of 1970s basketball with the photography?
Yeah.
It felt like that.
Yeah.
It was chilled, and we're walking down these concrete steps, and we just keep walking further down the steps. And at a certain point, the perspective crosses over, and you're not just watching people on a basketball court. You start to see them as actual individual humans, and you realize the scale of these people.
Yeah.
And we're getting lower and lower, and the went started yet, so we actually went all the way to the front before we actually sat down in our seats.
Yeah.
And we walked up there, and you know who was down on the court?
Who?
Shooting early. It was Manute Bol.
Oh. Manute. Wow.
7'7". Warming up. And in my mind, he was warming up shooting threes. I don't know if that's true, but he was there. And when I saw him and how big this man was, and, Chris Mullin was on the team. What year was this? 89 or 91? It was like between 89 and 91 or something like that. I don't
like
know.
Run TMC era?
A little before that.
Okay.
Wait, no. I gotta look back at this, but the thing is, the Warriors. No, it was before Run TMC because it was still a half empty arena.
Yeah.
And they hadn't really turned to see the success. And I know Manute Bol wasn't around for most of that. But when I saw him and got close, it was like a circus. It became something else. It was no longer a sport. It was a spectacle.
Yeah.
And it deserved awe, right?
Yeah.
You needed to be in awe of it when you realized.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way today, especially as the league kind of trends. I wouldn't say trends to taller people now.
Yeah.
But, you're getting, you're not gonna get the same swath of 6'1" point guards over the next 10 years. Like, everybody's gonna be 6'7" switchable person, and hopefully you'll get somebody who's more of a floor general who's also 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
So we get down there and it seems people, but even to this day, I think of all the sports, right? NBA basketball is closest to like an ancient mythical spectacle that you might read about, because you're literally pulling out the rarest of humans from all corners at this time now.
Yeah.
In 2025, you're finding there's like a call for the freakishly big people to come play this one game, right?
Yeah.
And for once, we actually are getting the tallest people from all over the world, and they're all descending into Memphis or wherever it is to play basketball, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it's really becoming what it could become.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it. You can play football. You have to be big, but there's nobody in football that might also double in the Guinness Book of World Records at one point.
Yeah.
You're not the world's fattest man doesn't play football.
Yeah.
Right. There's a line to that. In all the other sports too, you got relatively normal looking sized humans doing things that we are familiar with. But then there's this one where you have to find mythical creatures, to battle in this one very particular sport.
Yeah.
So it's always been awe-inspiring more than the other sports, and just from that angle. And then when you have a sprinkling or spattering of people who aren't giants having to live in that world and be effective, it's almost like a different type of mythical character, right? They're the ones fighting the giants.
Yeah.
So it maps to that part of my brain a lot easier than other sports. Just the gravitas that even NFL Films has, the things that they do that wrap around NFL stories, I've always thought should be the way NBA stories are told. Those are the real. Those are the real myths. These are the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still telling. People are still losing their minds over a story about a 10-foot giant from thousands of years ago. Get over Goliath. If you saw Boban. What's the guy's last name?
Boban.
You saw
I
him
can't pronounce
emerge.
his last name.
You saw him emerge from a cave, and you'd think that this was a myth.
Yeah.
You just saw him in some robe, walking through the trees. You'd be like, this doesn't exist. This is not real.
Yeah.
So there's an affinity to giants, I guess, and that locked in early. As Manute Bol's scale became apparent, as a very small child walking down from the upper deck, the nosebleeds all the way to the courtside seats, and this person just continues to extend, and then he can shoot. It's like, what is this? It's like a circus.
Yeah,
it's a skill circus. It's incredible.
It's fun. I don't want to interrupt you. What's funny is there was this one game. You remember this, but it was when Wimpy got drafted, right? And a lot of what you're saying applies to him too. I think all what you're saying applies to him too, right? I'll never forget the first game. It was against the Mavericks, and he looked what he was doing. Not even that game. There was a game he had in his rookie season against the Milwaukee Bucks where he was eating them alive. And there was one block that he did. He literally palmed Giannis's hand. It was great. I'm just and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like we have really reached a point where the impossible is the new normal. And yet, I have to hear people say that the NBA is not the same. The NBA has to do this, that, and third. I'm like, are you even watching right now? Are you witnessing what's going on? Like, that's the thing that angers me is, like, there are all these channels, and you probably know what I'm talking about. All these LeBron hate channels, these NBA hate channels, they masquerade themselves as analysis when they're just hating the hate. And you see that all over Twitter, you see it on Instagram. You know, it's a big problem in discourse in general, is that it's easier to hate than to appreciate. And look, there are people that I don't like too, but I'm not going to say they shouldn't have the right to be doing what they're doing. And that's what it really feels like. It feels like, you know, people are sort of, how can I say this? People are kind of like, I don't know. It's difficult for me to sort of put this like simply. And I think we were living in the post objective reality era where things that are not subjective are now subjective. That if you were to tell someone who's the best player in the world, you know, we probably both like, who do you think is the best player in the world right now in the NBA?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's between two people, but at the same time, a lot of people seem to think Jokic is still the best player on earth. I kind of like to stay out of declaring who the best on earth is.
Okay.
But it's either Shea or Jokic at this point.
Okay, either or, right?
Yeah.
And you look at, right, it feels like, because think about, you know, you probably saw the Bleacher Report top 100 list debacle, right? And just seeing all the conversations, and it feels like the things that we're talking about, we're just going in circles now. You're talking about T-Mac winning 3 wins with Shaq. We're talking about the most random things in the world. We had the whole Jim Jones beefing with Nas and Pusha T, and just like, and I just started realizing, like, we really have ran out of things to talk about. Because if you hate on everything, then we have nothing, right? And I get it, it's addictive to dislike something intensely because it gives you that feeling, that dopamine in it. But it's not healthy. It's not good for you.
Not at all.
Right? And there's one content creator that if you were ever going to do a non-NBA video on, I think this person would probably be perfect for it. Have you heard of Jester Bell?
Say it again?
Jester Bell. She's a reviewer, video reviewer.
Oh, no. Right. I have not.
So you go on her channel.
Yeah.
You go on her channel. It is nonstop, constant hate. It's hating on the MCU. It's hating on James Gunn's Superman. It's hating on Star Wars and Kamala Khan and Ironheart. It's just hating on the latest editions of the Joker and Harley Quinn. It's like, at some point I'm like, is this really worth it? Like, she's getting views and comments, but like, this is not healthy. Then I realized, okay, there's a whole economy of this. And it's being incentivized. It's being algorithmized. It's being profited. It's profitable. Right? So like, it really feels like, it kind of feels like picking the best in anything is kind of like, what's your favorite superhero or supervillain? You're going to get 100 different answers, which hasn't really happened before. But then I realized, like, maybe it was like that. And we just, you know, media and sort of kind of like determining, you know, people's perceptions before social media comes into the picture kind of just sort of levels the playing field, you know.
Here's my take on this. I think that our tendencies are consistent.
Yeah.
The patterns that we kind of behave in. But until recently, there's been breaks. You know what I mean? It's like you can only talk about something for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Because there's either no more time for it or there's no means for it.
Yeah.
So you're able to reset and process.
Yeah.
But there's no breaks anymore.
Yeah.
There's no filters, and I'm not talking about filters like content filters or, you know, some words you type in to not see anymore, but I'm talking just like the structure of the room that you're in.
Yeah.
I use this example a lot because, you know, I have kids.
Okay.
And I'm like, sometimes when I'm like, the way you would want to behave in one space might be okay, but you don't want to behave that way in a different space. I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, where do you go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Like, where do you go to the room where that's appropriate?
Yeah.
You have all the tools for that in that room. That's where you go,
Yeah.
right? And when you go in there, you get to do certain things that you don't do in other rooms. So it's like, it's a privilege for that particular space to do those particular things.
Yeah.
And we all agree. We could all just say, F it, and go wherever we want. And a lot, people do.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have a room for that, right?
Yeah.
And imagine everything was a bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, every room was just a toilet.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, people are going to be constantly trying to go to the bathroom or just doing bathroom things.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just never get a chance to step away.
Yeah.
Especially in heated debates on social media. There's no cutoff,
Yeah.
There's a certain point where it's like, the rule is you don't tweet somebody after, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Because and that's something in my personal adjustment, which has been, I know for a fact I make better decisions when I give myself a little bit of time to process it.
Yeah.
Because it's incredible how fast that defensiveness will fade away if it's invalid, if it's not relevant, if it just came up out of habit.
Yeah.
If you realize the other person made a good point,
Yeah.
Once those chemicals die down from that initial blunt force of whatever they said, then you go, oh, okay, all right, I get it, I get what you're saying, and then approach it that way.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, if we have time away from each other, then we have time to process those things. But it's just right there. It's literally always there.
Yeah.
At any moment, somebody could start screaming at you. At any point, I don't have a lot of notifications on, but it's like I have enough where if somebody didn't like something I did, there's a good chance when they hit that button to tell me, I'm going to know right away.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to create incredible amounts of anxiety in people. Just where you're like, at any point in time, anybody can reach me and tell me anything.
Yeah.
No, that's for business hours. When I get home, I don't need people telling me stuff. Like, I decide to not participate.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. So it just runs us dry. And then the easiest thing to do when you've got no more, when you're running on fumes, is to just keep doing whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You just the 2 or 3 things, and it just continues to force our way into 1 or 2 camps. Just the idea of sports hate, and I've heard that. I think Bill Simmons uses that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I like it. The idea is like, I don't hate, even if we're in a heated debate about basketball, I do not hate anybody who plays basketball. Like, I don't hate any of these people. I don't hate any of your opinions. Like, I don't. But while we discuss it, I may be passionate about it. It may sound like I hate a certain player, but it's all in the context of, we get it. We're talking about basketball, and we understand the level of its importance or its seriousness.
Yeah.
And that I can be all emotional, or I can get mad, and I can say, F the Knicks or whatever. Just when I can say these things, and if I'm in my group of friends or in person with people, we all understand the level of it.
Yeah.
But you put that online, and it just gets stripped of all that context, and it's just like you can't sports hate online without people taking you too seriously. So either you lean into it because people take you seriously, or you pull back from it and realize it's nobody wants to have an actual light conversation about sports. Like, T-Mac saying that he could have whatever with, and then I think Shaq was like, yeah, I could have won 3 with T-Mac. That's all fair to me. What's stupid is people getting offended by it, I think that's a fine side conversation to have that nobody should care about.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we constantly want these athletes, and that's the other part, and that's tough because a lot of these athletes are now their own mouthpiece. They have their own shows. But what we want out of our athletes is to not be rational. We don't want them to be rational. The best athletes we know of, the ones we celebrate the most, are the most psychotic, right? So why I want the basketball players of my era and the basketball players who did great things, I want them to think that they could have won, right? But then when people get mad because they said it, that's the mentality of sports. You want to think that you're better than somebody.
Yeah.
that's where you get the confidence from, because skill is obviously important, and training is vastly more important. But my goodness, I sometimes I think confidence is 60% of basketball.
Yeah.
Maybe all sports, but there's something particularly isolating about basketball where, like, even in such a small group of 5 players, you could, without confidence, you can just disappear.
Yeah.
And it's very apparent. And it's like, yeah, that person just lost their confidence. It's just an incredible tool to be able to access. So you need people who can do that stuff. And you hear players talking about how they talk to themselves, how they motivate themselves. I've gone deep into Michael Jordan, how he's motivated himself in the weird ways he approached it. So they're not. That's fine. Let them talk. Let them compare themselves and and it's all in good faith.
Yeah.
But people, that's not where the money's made. The money's made in anger, because people will come back for that.
Yeah.
People will turn around for anger. But it's like, it seems like an old man take, but it's like, if there was like a shut off time for feeds, that would be the first healthy step.
Yeah.
Like, there's just some sort of curfew for social media. People would wake up the next morning with a lot more rational views, and a little bit more of a shield to take it.
Yeah.
Right? Because then at the end of the day, you're fighting all day and you're wrong. You're bare. You've got no shields up. You got no defense. You've used it all day. You're exhausted. So you're just going to keep doubling down on whatever your bad take was, because you can't change now.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's gross. But I think it's yeah. It's any of that. It's like, you don't put a whole bucket of candy in front of a kid. Like, they're just going to keep eating it. Like, you gotta break it up, guys.
Interesting. Wow, that low key, what you said right there, that could be its own video in and of itself. So.
For you, whatever you need, man. I support you fully here. I'm figuring out a couple of things. I'm actually trying to start the YouTube up again more. I have about 3. This is kind of a side note, branching off of you just saying more videos, but 3 long projects I've kind of been sitting on for a while that I think I'm going to put up pretty soon, by the way.
Interesting. I was going to ask you about that because so that it seems like you kind of took a hiatus. Like, was it because of the amount that the Leroy Smith project took out of you, or was it something? Was that like self-imposed?
It's through things, and I have 6 minutes here. That's a great question. Early on, I was doing it pretty regularly, and then when I started getting some heat, and I don't know if every basketball YouTuber goes through this stage, or if maybe I was suited particularly because of the type of things I was doing. But I started getting phone calls from established organizations. It was like Bleacher Report and like The Athletic, to start to make content for them.
Wow.
Right? Oh! Early on, it was who's the one? What's the group? Like Kenny Beecham and his group. What's their group they work with? It's like a subsidiary of Bleacher Report. But anyway, they're huge now. They're on ESPN.
Yeah.
But that group, the people that do their show early on, when they were trying to expand, they were like, "Yeah, come do stuff for us." And the caveat with all this was that do it for us, and then you got to stop doing YouTube. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I'll try something out. So there was a stretch of time where I was doing work for other people and not the channel.
Wow.
And then I lost a lot of momentum on my own channel. I felt bad about it.
Okay.
And then I rededicated myself to the channel a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then my family and I moved around a lot, but there was a point where, when Leroy showed up, I just decided the only focus, at least for the channel, obviously I had to do other things in life, was going to be finishing that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the smoothest process figuring out what it was or how to tell the story. At first, I wanted to just do like an 18-minute follow-up video just with all the answers to previous questions. But it kept kind of becoming something else.
Yeah.
And I realized every time I let an idea play out fully, I end up with something that I'm proud of and I don't regret, right?
Okay.
Like I've never looked the 10 or 12 videos where I actually spent all the time that I wanted to and I got every idea out into it.
Yeah.
I still watch those to this day. And I look at other ones where I'm like, yeah, that was rushed. Yeah, I should have included this idea and I should have kept going with that.
Okay.
So when that happened, when Leroy popped up, I said, I'm just not going to do anything except for this until it's done.
Okay.
And every time I got distracted with it or some other idea, I'd write things down, but the idea was, no, I have to rededicate to this project to finish this because that seems like what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
And that's what it. So then after that, it was just, it's kind of rolled right into this other thing that I'm working on. It's also outside of YouTube. But within this, I do feel this need that I need to go back and continue to put stuff up there in some capacity. Like,
Okay.
It's a thing. It's got a life of its own. It's got people that watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other part is I actually have, like I said earlier, I have, 60, 75% done content that's just sitting in timelines that I kind of put on the back burner after during the Leroy process. So
Okay.
I don't know. There may be a renaissance phase of the channel coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah, keep the name. What's the guy's name? Fred Brown.
Yeah.
At the top of your lookout list. Fred Brown, 1979. NBA champion with what was it, Seattle? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not Seattle. It was Seattle. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's something I've been sitting on for a while. That's a good one.
Interesting. Wow. How
So
do
yeah, I
you,
did kind of take it, but it was more focused. It wasn't much about pace. It was like I just had to focus on the thing. But the thing is, sometimes when the stuff doesn't end up on YouTube, it just feels like these big gaps.
yeah.
But it was process.
Interesting. Have you ever, through your whole YouTube career, have you ever scrapped a video?
So many videos.
Okay. Wow. Can you name an example of one that you really liked, but for whatever reason it just didn't come out?
I had something on Patrick Beverly that I went really deep into.
Yeah.
I'm glad you reminded me because I'd forgotten about that one. I started a project on Wilt's 100-point game.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. I should have put that out because this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
This was so long ago. I spent so much time. I had the entire thing scripted out. I voiced the whole thing. This might have been, this was something I would have posted before the Leroy Smith stuff. But I got discouraged because, I didn't know that in that time in the NBA, they shot free throws 3 for 2.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at that time.
Okay.
Because I was kind of playing the conspiracy angle up, and this is before everybody descended on, does the 100-point game actually exist? It was the idea that I don't know if he actually scored 100. My proposition was that he might have scored more than 100 points, but they just thought 100 sounded better. And then I kept landing on 98 points because, you got the guy's score sheet and I was going through it. And then there's this weird gap in the actual audio. If you listen to the radio broadcast, there's this little gap and it's during his, when he's shooting free throws.
Wow.
And it felt really suspicious. And I don't know why. And then there was something that was missing in the logs from the guy who was keeping score that day.
Yeah.
So I just dove into those two questions, and I just made this whole content. And I probably should have put it out because it was a fun process to go through. It was validating the 100-point game.
Yeah.
But no, I never put it out.
Wow.
The other one was a good one. It was, what was that one? I just had it. I almost made a whole thing about LeBron and steroids.
What?
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. I still have it written out. But what I did was I created a whole fictional world of fictional characters, and I was going to tell a story about the 2009 Orlando Magic. Is that the one that went to the finals?
Yeah.
That beat? Yeah. It was centered around them.
Okay.
But it was really a story about LeBron James and steroids.
Okay.
And just steroids in basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got really far with that. And again, I'm not bringing... I was never approaching that topic from like I don't know, contemptuous way. Like I never thought like, oh, LeBron's on steroids, I have to expose it. But it was the question and just looking into it and the process of it. That's kind of everything that I do is I look into it. I record my process. I talk it out with myself.
Yeah.
And when I get to the end, if there's something worth it, then I'll keep going with it. But if I get to a point where I'm like, there's nothing there, that's kind of when I abandon it.
Okay.
And it wasn't that there was nothing there. It's just like I wasn't treading any new territory with it, you know? That's what I thought by covering the 2009 Orlando Magic, because that team, I'm positive, had access to something.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny when you say it? You know what's funny about that team was that if there's a team that this might be a very weird comparison, but if there's a team that might have had access to some of Magic or whatever, right? Hyperbole you want to use, it's probably the 2021 Bengals. Like
oh wow,
like that season that they had genuinely does not make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they did anything crazy, but I'm just saying, like, if there's any team that, quote unquote, like, people do this devil magic concept, I've never bought into that, because I just think that's just conspiratorial nonsense. But if it was real, I really think that team that team, like, might have done something with that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't get those vibes from any of the Chiefs teams or Patriots or Warriors or Bulls or anything. Like, those teams were just very, very good at what they do. That's why they won. And fan bases just couldn't take it. But that team does not make any sense to me. Because they have not gone anywhere close to that since then or before then. So,
where were they the year before?
They were like one of the worst teams in the league. They had like a top 4 pick. Like,
that's right.
Right? So it's one of those things.
I gotta run.
You gotta go?
Whatever you gotta wrap up, I'm here for a couple minutes, but I do have to run.
Okay. All right.
I can hear my dog barking. I hope we don't care.
That's fine. That's fine. Who was your celebrity crush growing up? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Okay.
I had an early Beyonce poster. Like the original 3, Destiny's Child, that group.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But I was always that guy who was like, as soon as somebody else was like into other people, I'm like, whatever, I'm over it.
All right. Okay.
So it's like as soon as I feel like anytime I started developing some sort of attachment and they got popular, I was like, whatever, I'm over them.
Okay.
But yeah, I distinctly remember a poster.
Okay.
Or it was like a magazine that I grabbed from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, back in posters and magazines.
Okay. What music are you listening to right now?
That's an interesting question. I listen to a lot of random stuff. I feel like I've gotten so far outside of like the artist album process.
Yeah.
Where it's just like songs that are recommended to me via, just social media, and then also whatever Spotify is like, hey, maybe you'll like this. And then you go down a rabbit hole and find more artists.
Okay.
I mean, I just listened to the Clipse album the other day. That felt great. That was good because I had a little bit of history. Then when I was in college, I went to college in New York City, or in New York, in Queens, St. John's, and I was president of their of the planning board, right, student planning board for 1 year. It's ceremonial, but there was one task which we had to put one big event on for the school, So we got the Clipse to come perform. But that was only after somebody else backed out. But it was the Clipse, and then we tried to get a comedian. I wanted to bring this guy, Mitch Hedberg. If you haven't heard of him, now you have. He died a few years later, so I feel bad that I wasn't able to get him to the school that year. But, yeah, so
That's
that was
crazy.
ages ago. But they were incredible back then. I'm just glad to see old folks doing well.
Did you talk to Push
What did I
it?
listen to? What's that?
Did you talk to Push it during that time, or?
No, I didn't get to talk to him. I just was in the audience after everything was, the deals were made and all the phone calls. I just was an audience member. I didn't get to talk to anybody.
Okay.
I probably could have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just happy that the event went well. That's what I was stressed about.
Wow.
I mean, who am I listening to? I just was listening to something. It's the most random selection of music, but I listen to a lot of R&B.
Okay.
A lot of old, early 2000s, 90s stuff.
All right. Like Jenny Y or?
Like D'Angelo. Like Maxwell.
Maxwell, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
That's what I locked into, and I can't shake.
Okay. Wow.
But no, I mean, but I spend so much time editing or just in front of a computer. A lot of the stuff I listen to now is just instrumental stuff, just background stuff. Unfortunately, that's interesting because it's unfortunate because I'm not sitting down dedicating time to really listen to a lot of music these days.
Okay.
Though there is a lot of music on, it's just kind of become background. Which, I think people should be more deliberate about listening to music. Yeah.
Okay. Probably heard of Drink Champs, right? The hip hop podcast.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, I know you gotta go soon, but I'm gonna do a little Q&A. You're cool with that? And it's gonna work. It's gonna work the same way, but the difference is you can't say both, and you can't say neither. And if you want to tell a little story or whatever, you're free to do that about that choice. Okay. All right. James Harden or Dwayne Wade?
Oh, Dwayne Wade.
Okay.
Now, you're not giving me any sort of framework on what the decision's based on. This is just my take.
Yeah.
You're not saying who's better, are you? You're just saying pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving?
Damian Lillard.
Okay. Spielberg or Scorsese?
Scorsese.
Okay.
But there's reasons for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's just that's the part. What you're doing right here is important, and I think the framing of it is also important to not have a framing.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they're a full-blown critic that gets paid and needs to have the most analytical answer, and there's a correct answer to things. I'm answering this off of the things that have impacted me the most.
Yeah.
The moments
that's totally fair.
That's
what I'm trying to do. I really appreciate that answer. Okay.
So it's like when people are like, I heard this the other day when there was like I don't know if it was a rookie, this year's rookies or somebody else.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of interviews that were going on with NBA rookies, and they're asking, who's your GOAT? And a handful of them said Paul George.
Yeah.
And whichever channel I was watching, they went on to make fun of them for calling him their GOAT. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. It's their GOAT. It's theirs. For one reason or another, they were impacted by him.
Yeah.
And identified with him.
Yeah.
In whatever his journey was. And it could have only been for a week or a month or one season to connect and to become that. So that's why I go with Scorsese, just because there's two of his films that I'll turn on absolutely whenever. And I don't know, I appreciate E.T., but I was on, I think I scrolled past it at some point recently. Like, there's certain movies that you just turn on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'll watch this.
Okay.
Especially, I have these kids, and it's like, you gotta start thinking about what do you want to share with them?
Yeah.
What do you want to... We can get into that. There's a whole different conversation about all this with kids, because it's like, I've learned more and more that raising kids is just like, it's a marketing challenge. It's marketing. It's PR and marketing.
Yeah.
You got to create characters. You got to create, as a dad, as a father, you have to create the character of father.
Yeah.
And hopefully it is who you are, but you have to be able to communicate it to them in a way that is clear to them.
Yeah.
So things like, dad doesn't do that. We don't do that in this house.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we don't do that in this house.
Yeah.
Or like I make my dad's famous pancakes, which aren't famous at all.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like little tricks, little marketing tricks.
Yeah.
And then they hopefully carry those things along with them as pillars. But anyway, so yeah, Scorsese. What's the next one?
Christopher Nolan or Stanley Kubrick?
Oh, Christopher Nolan.
Okay. Zack Snyder or Michael Bay?
Oh, Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Okay. Really? Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Johnson or J.J. Abrams?
I've always admired. Okay, I've seen a little bit of myself in J.J. Abrams because he seems to like to start things.
Yeah.
Not knowing what he's going to do with it or how he's going to finish it.
Yeah.
So there's like an odd ambition that I appreciate from him.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we'll figure it out, but we have to do this thing. We're going to do it. And jumping into it. So if the question is, as an individual, I actually like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
I assume the individual is wrapped in the question.
Yeah.
It's not just the things they've produced.
Yeah. Okay. Future or Young Thug?
What's that?
Future or Young Thug?
Oh, Future.
Okay. 50 Cent or T.I.?
I saw Future open for Drake.
Okay.
I saw Miguel. Miguel, remember Miguel? Remember that guy, singer?
Yeah.
He opened for Future, and Future was opening for Drake.
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a wonderful show. I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah.
That was so many years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. What's the next one?
50 Cent or T.I.?
Now T.I.
Okay. Interesting. Beyonce or Prince?
Let's say Prince. It's funny. It's like you start thinking, and immediately you start weighing each side, and these weird little things pop up associated with them.
Yeah.
I honestly would say Beyonce.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're not. It's the framing. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
To me, it's not about. I'm not even talking about music libraries. Just personal impact and.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, she was my first she was my early celebrity crush. Like,
Okay.
come on.
Yeah.
Are you gonna shake that?
Yeah. Okay.
But just honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough when somebody dies because everything gets solidified or calcified. But it's like, well, Beyonce kicks the bucket tomorrow. Like that's she gets put in the same categories as any of those people.
Yeah.
In terms of entertainment, career, longevity, all that stuff, numbers. I'm not a numbers guy, but I don't think it's blasphemous to say Beyonce versus Prince. Honestly, there's like 4 Prince songs I actually like.
Yeah.
The rest, I appreciate what he did, and I get that he's super talented, and that especially the time and the things he stood for, or whatever it is. But there's like 4 songs I like.
Okay, that's fair. Michael Jackson or Frank Sinatra?
Oh, Michael Jackson.
Okay. Logic or Macklemore?
What? Honestly, Macklemore.
Okay.
This is just. I'm just thinking about at this. I'm just thinking about the person.
Yeah.
At this point, like they're. Yeah, I feel for Logic. I do. I'm in a similar situation as Logic.
Okay.
But I don't know. There's like a. I don't mind if people are seen or labeled as corny or whatever the people want to put on them.
Yeah.
But then it's like when you look at the person, there's like a level of sweatiness to him or desperation that I feel that emanating from him that I can't connect with.
Okay.
I'd rather somebody just be Just be the thing you are and continue to be you. You don't have. There's a lot of responding to the haters like that. At a certain point, just stop. Just ignore it. Just get over it.
Yeah.
You know, and do you. Do whatever music you want. Talk about whatever you want. You know, talk about your struggles. But it's like that sweatiness, desperation, like just chasing something that's like pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel in some people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kanye or Kendrick Lamar?
Historically, Kanye.
Okay.
I mean, there's like a point. I kind of seen this emerge online, like considering that he basically retired after what was it? My Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Fantasy, whatever that one. Like considering that he's retired. That was the end of Kanye. But yeah, there was I mean, that was prime time in growing up and developing and having life experiences. His music was all over the place.
Yeah.
So I can't deny that.
Okay.
Drake? Also, I'm the reason that he was on. Do you remember the telecast or the broadcast of it was the hurricane relief thing when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people? He was on that show because of me. I don't tell that story too much anymore. I forgot about it actually.
What?
I was an intern. I was a page at NBC that year. I worked in a department that made promos, right?
Wow.
And the hurricane happened, and I happened to be in the department where they came up with the idea to put the special on.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't know what was going on, but they decided to divide all the people up, all the workers, into different groups so they can produce the special.
Yeah.
For that night. And I ended up in a room with some old lady. I would love to figure out what her name was because it would make my story seem a lot more valid.
Yeah.
It was me and an intern. I think it might have been her assistant.
Yeah.
But I was a page, which is like a college graduate internship.
Okay.
And that's how I got started in kind of working behind the scenes in television a little bit in production. But the point is, we're in the room, and the lady is the point person for booking. Who wants to be on the show?
Yeah.
And they're calling everybody, and they're getting a lot of calls from people.
Yeah.
And this is an old lady. She worked in television a lot of years, but she wasn't fully aware of a newer generation of talent, right?
Yeah.
She did not know who a lot of people were. So Tony Bennett called up.
Yeah.
And she's talking, and she gets off the phone, and she tells us, and she's like consulting us. And I honestly didn't even know how I ended up as one of the two people in there. She's like, yeah, Tony Bennett wants to sing. I told him no, he can say something though. And we're like, okay, that's great. And then Master P's people call, and she's on the phone, and she like puts her hand over the phone like in a television show, and she's like mouths Master P, and we're like, we both kind of do a I don't know. He wasn't really hot at that moment.
Yeah.
And we were like, and then she told his people no. They were like, no, the show's full. And I kind of felt bad to that day because it was, affected his area incredibly.
Yeah.
But at that moment, it was like, who's hot, who's not? And it was like we both were, Then she gets a call, and she looks over us, and she mouths Kanye West to both of us. And we give an ecstatic thumbs up.
Yeah.
We're like, yes, absolutely. Book him.
Wow.
And then, the rest is history.
Did you met Ye?
What's that?
Did you met Kanye after that, or?
So I was backstage when it happened. There's like a hallway leading into the studios. So all the celebrities were in the back hallway.
Wow.
And when it was their turn, they would slip into the studio. They'd get on their mark. Because you just open two doors and you're right there on the studio floor.
Yeah.
So the hallway was the holding area, and everybody's back there. I had to go find Richard Gere a hat because he didn't want to show his bald spot, right?
Wow.
This is a weird tap he had to do.
Wow.
So, and then there was when I was singing, he needed like a throat steroid thing. Not a steroid, but like the thing to help you sing or clear up any sort of. It's a steroid, but it's not illegal.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So anyway, leading up to when Kanye was supposed to be on, do his part.
Yeah.
At the end of the hallway, there's 2 elevator doors, and they open up. And it's Kanye West, it's P. Diddy, and it's Chris Tucker.
What?
And they all come in at the same time. And they go right in. It's like a wave that just comes to the crowd of energy, and they just go right into the studio.
Wow.
And then we all turn to the televisions, and he does it's like a commercial break. He does a little rehearsal or something, or you might have known his lines. And he's standing next to Mike Myers, and we're all watching the preview screen. And all of a sudden, they go on air, and they cut to him, and he does this little thing, and everybody is frozen. And I'm looking at the executives, the NBC executives. We're all frozen just watching this. And the second it's done, him and Puff jet out of the doors and right back into the elevator and leave. A page buddy of mine was in the elevator with him, and he was frozen. And they were like laughing. They were having a great time.
Wow.
And then they left. And that was it. It was incredible.
Wow.
That's I take a little responsibility for that part.
Wow.
But, I mean, anybody in the room would have been like, yes to Kanye. But I just happened to be the one in the room. But I feel bad for saying no to Master P, right? Like, come on.
Wow.
All right, I do have to go. Is there one more?
Yeah, there's 2 more. There's 2 more.
Okay, I'll do quick.
Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Okay. Millie Bobby Brown or Megan Fox?
Megan Fox.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's the end of the interview. I am so happy that this conversation has happened. Wow. I want to thank you for again coming on here, showing out like you always do. And yeah, bro, I'm honored, man.
This was great. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, man. Whatever you need.
Yeah. Maybe in a couple months we can have another interview. Maybe, I don't know. That'll be cool.
Put it on the books. Seriously, you send me some invite in a month or so, or I'll mark it down.
Okay.
I support this. I love what you're doing.
Okay. See ya, man.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. And that's another episode of the Renegade Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. Same way I enjoyed this one, putting this one together. Bye.